Hey folks, Joe Lang, Team Meat in the Freezer, doing a quick review here on the Muddy Mule. This is a deer cart. A lot of people have gotten away from it over the years. They're using side-by-sides, things of that nature. I did the very same myself now that I'm in South Georgia, or Middle Georgia if you will. Prior to last season, I got a new spot. It was deep in the sticks. Had to go through a swamp bottom to get there. Had some cypress knees in there. It was miserable. Nowhere you'd want to drag a deer out from, but I plan on taking some deer out of there because there was lots of does. I'm going to clip some footage in there for you, but I've been through, like a lot of you, I've been through a lot of deer carts over the years. A lot of them have plastic spokes on the wheels, things of that nature. You put more than one deer on there, or you get an animal in there, you hit a slight tilt or a slant, and next thing you know, the spokes snap, and you're sitting there with a broken deer cart in the middle of the woods. Been there, done that. Didn't ever want to do it again. Anyway, I did some research. I located a deer cart called the Muddy Mule, which is right here. Of course, the handles extend in with these push button releases here, and the handle also, you just loosen these two knobs right here, and the handle folds over flat so you can make this smaller. However, I'm not packing this in anywhere, so I kind of lock it in my truck with a cable when I know I'm going to need it, or if I'm hunting deep on public, I'll tote it in there with me and stash it or lock it on a tree somewhere until I need it. Anyway, what I wanted to tell y'all is on this particular cart, it has a 300-pound weight capacity. It's got 16-inch diameter wheels on here. About 16 inches diameter on the wheel. So it's got pretty good clearance on it if you're coming over lumps or uneven ground or whatever. But what I really like about it the most is the wheels and the axle. They're really solid spoke wheels. It's all metal. You've got these cotter pins right here that go in and out of the axle. I'll show you some close-up footage of that, but my recommendation for improvement would be to tie a little lanyard, either bend the ends of this over so it can't pull out, and when you pull through the brush, you don't want it pulling out of your axle. So I would either bend these over or tie some 550 cord on here to one of your spokes to prevent that, and I would also take maybe some duct tape up here on the handle and wrap some duct tape on here with a spare or two underneath. That'd be a great idea to keep you in business when you're hauling out. It's the cotter pins I'm talking about on the axles. They just pull right out if they get caught in the brush, like so. So what I would do is get you multiple spares. You can get a box from Harbor Freight in different sizes for cheap, and not only keep them in there, because as you're pulling your deer out, if this gets snagged on a brush, it'll pull it out. So I would take some braided line or some 550 cord and affix it here and just hook it to one of these spokes here to avoid it from pulling out. Either that or bend these ends over. That'd be another option, is to just bend these ends over so they can't pull out. So that's one improvement I advise you making, especially if you're going to be pulling out in some brush. The last thing you want is your wheel to fall off while you're pulling a deer out. Pulling out some game. Another thing is it's very well balanced. The way this cart is, my wife, I actually laid on this cart in the house last year, and I'm 275 pounds, about 6'5", and I laid on this and had my wife, who's about 115 pounds, pull me all over with it just to see how it's balanced. But what's nice is most of your game is balanced on here on the axle. It's centered very well, so it's not real heavy on the hand. The Muddy Mule in action. My lovely wife. We're fixing to stress test this thing and put two of them on there and strap them down. And another benefit to this, I will say, I'm going to incorporate some footage of there from last year. The first time I used this cart, I shot two nice sized does here in Georgia. We put them both on here. So one thing I would recommend, there's no flared sides or anything here, and if you notice, the wheels sit up higher than the side. So what you have if you get too big of an animal or whatever, or multiple animals, when you try to roll it, the wheels rub the animal. So all I did to fix that was take a standard ratchet strap, and I hooked it on here. I rolled it around the animals and hooked it here, and I strapped it down tight and pulled the animals in until they weren't touching the wheels, and it worked like a charm. So my recommendation, Muddy Mule, I used it all through last season. We pulled out 5 or 6 animals on it, 2 at a time at times. The way it sits now is fine for single animals in my opinion. Probably even up to a couple 100-pounder, it'd probably hold more. If you want to put multiple animals on it, and instead of making 2 trips, which I did last year because of the heat here in Georgia and the mosquitoes, put you a couple ratchet straps on here. I recommend just putting them on here and leaving them on here. Strap them on here, ratchet them down. So, well, we used a pocket drag to get them over here. Now we got the Muddy Mule in action. As you can see, put a ratchet strap on. We got 2 big does on here. We're rubbing the wheels a little bit, but I think we're going to get it done. Let's see if you're able to pull it, hon.
Okay.
You know which way you're headed? You see the tacks? Yeah, head toward that tack. See it?
Yeah.
Well, we're not saying it's easy, but it is holding the weight so far.
Yeah.
Which is right near the 300-pound capacity. My wife's very small. I'm going to have to give her a hand here. Are you not able to pull it, sweetheart?
No.
Alright, as you can see, we got the beef here. The only thing I could mention is the Muddy Mule, if they had a way to keep these cotter pins on the axles without you having to make modifications, which is no big deal, that would be an improvement. And maybe if they could put some a little flare on the cage here to keep animals from rubbing on the wheel if you load it up, that would be some improvements. However, to this date, this is the best one I've used. It is heavy duty. It took about 15 or 20 minutes watching TV to put together. Not a big deal. It's held up really well. It rolls super easy. I mean, 2 fingers. So other than that, I believe it retailed for $129.99 last year, so you have to check it out and see what you can get it for this year. But anyway, if you're in the market for a good deer cart this year to take out your trophy or your meat for the freezer, keep in mind the Muddy Mule. This is Joe Lang from Team Meat in the Freezer. I'm going to see you in the field this year. Shoot straight. Give your praise to God. Thank a veteran when you see him or her, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you this fall.
Man was built on hard work, nourished from calloused hands of men that kept their nose down until the job was done. Men who beat the morning sun, leaving any excuses at the trailhead. We're the ones that don't count on luck. We're the path makers, the believers, the caretakers. Nose down is more than a brand. It's a lifestyle. Live life nose down.